Ohananomitsu or Ohana High is the school where most of the setting of this manga series, the 100 girlfriends who really love you, take place. Most especially or most notably in the rooftop. It's become like this holy land where family gatherings and family activities take place. Activities such as sort of particular activities of which a new girlfriend is being introduced to the renter family, or just simple casual family fun stuff. Now, following the events after the Hakari rescue arc, Hahari, who is the mother of Hakari, became the new chairwoman of this school of Ohana High. And it's done so in a Mr. Beast-like fashion where I just bought this entire school so I can be together with my boyfriend all the time type of deal. It's insanity. But anyway, why am I mentioning this? Well, I suppose it's because I just wanted to talk about Ohananomitsu for a bit, because this is the very school where Rentaro and the gang, the Rentaro family, are having all sorts of fun times. They're really enjoying their rom-com, their high school life, their youth to the very fullest, and it's just fun watching it and just seeing the universe, I suppose, of this story expand by us, from us as readers, watching or finding out about all the different facilities, for instance, within the school. It's fun to always see that part of it grow, and most importantly as well, towards the many unique personnel, unique faculty that this school has. And if you've read the manga, if you're familiar with this manga, or especially familiar with the girlfriends for that matter, girlfriends, students with unique personalities, teachers as well, faculty as well, are just as unique, and hot damn, I really love it. Now I want to start talking about the school grounds first, the of Ohananomitsu, right? What type of facilities, or I guess unique features, the school has right now. First off, right, it's established from when we met Kurumi, right, and Kurumi's introduction, or in Kurumi's debut chapter, that we found out that this high school has apparently a sort of middle school side. So I imagine that it's the type of school where there is a building for high school students and a building for the middle school students. So there's that. Another thing is that in chapter 1, right, they have a school garden where they grow pink four-leaf, or pink clovers for that matter, and one of the key components to which what really, I guess led up to the confession, I suppose, of Rentaro, Hakari, and Karane. Of Rentaro to Hakari and Karane is that moment where Rentaro picked out those two of those pink four-leaf clovers, which for even Hakari and Karane had struggled finding one. Rentaro was able to find two of them, which it's amazing. But I'm getting off track. The point is that that sort of school garden, I find it to be I find it to be really special in my own personal opinion. Of course, you have also the infamous rooftop of this school building, a huge, amazing, incredible rooftop place where all sorts of adventures take place, whether it be from setting up stalls in a shopping district manner, using it as a sort of a tournament ground for kendo matches, kendo fights that would be on par with that of Demon Slayer, and all sorts of other activities, right? The point being is that this rooftop is, as I've said, it's like a holy ground. Of course, every school needs to have a library, a cafeteria, and we also get to know that there is a chemistry club room, which I imagine it has all sorts of, I guess you could say that it's a science room for that matter, right? I imagine that there's gonna be resources, materials provided for all sorts of experiments. If Kusuri can make whatever sort of ingenious drug, right, in that lab, then wow, it's either they have the right materials for it, or Kusuri is really that good of a genius, which, she is. There's also a baseball court, a baseball club. There's also the newspaper club, which almost exposed the one of the most, I guess, threatening, or one of the threats, I suppose, towards the Renter family, which Hahari almost got. I'm even surprised that they were still able to keep doing all these sorts of things. They're still able to be in operation despite the that one newspaper club member having all sorts of these photos of the activities that Renter and the gang are doing up in the roof, if you know what I mean, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, you know whatever happened to that, I'll just leave it at that, because at the end of the day, everything's fine. We're already in 100 plus chapters, so if that's going on, then hooray, right? Next up, there's also a gardening club. In fact, I just also wanted to stress that this entire school has a garden field which I imagine is as big as a regular field, or so. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but the point is that the field is so vast that it feels like it could really feed the entire school if it weren't on a lockdown for a month, dare I say. There's a greenhouse as well. I think that's a greenhouse, correct me if I'm wrong. But the point is that the gardening lands, the area for gardening is huge, right? Huge. Yamame and Momoha, right? Managing all that stuff, impressive, right? There's also a tennis court where from when we met when Momiji had her debut. There's a baseball court, and there's also a tennis court. So a lot of sports facilities. And speaking of sports facilities, I also wanted to add in towards the Kendo dojo that they have, a sort of training hall, so to speak, for the Kendo club that, where Kishika is on. Next, there's also a musical club. Apparently not a musical, right? But Muse, M-U-S-E, Ikal club. Of course, in the musical club, you need to have a stage, right? So yeah, there's a stage, but I imagine that stage is the one that they have in the gym, right? In the school gym, because if I remember correctly, or correct me if I'm wrong rather, but I've observed in most animes, especially in school animes, where they have an entire gym, right? And we also have this in the Philippines, right here, right? In universities and the like, right? Or at least to how I know, within the large gym, there's also an area for the stage. A huge stage area where general assemblies are being held, and they stand there. There's a podium and the like, and it can also be converted into a stage for musical plays and the like. So I imagine that's the case with this. I was debating on whether I should really add this or not, but you know what, I guess in a way I've come to my senses right now. In one of the chapters of this manga series, there was a mentioning of, there's a scene, a moment rather, within the chapter where Rentaro was in his tight swimwear, right? And he mentions of it being school issued. So with that being the case, right? And also I guess I've also sort of linked it towards Shizuka's swimsuit and the resort chapter, right? That I suppose in this school there is also a pool, right? There's a pool. So pool, a lot of sports facilities, courts rather, and the like, dojos, the buildings themselves for for learning. You also have the garden and the like. So again, huge with the addition of a pool, I wouldn't be surprised really. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Almost forgot about this one, right? And this actually concerns towards the new chapter where Rin was debuted, Bio Rin, or Rin Bio. So you get the pun, Bio Rin, violin, since this girlfriend is a violin aficionado / violence aficionado. So somewhat we can already get that she also is someone who plays the violin, and she also mentions that she is in a violin club, if I remember correctly. So aside from a violin, I'm just gonna assume in general, I suppose, that there's a music club, right? Not musical club, but a music club of sorts as part of the facilities in the school. And I guess it kind of makes sense one way or another, right? But because I imagine that there of course there's bound to be a somewhat musically themed, or sorry, a music oriented club of sorts. At least this is what I've gathered so far towards the entire universe or the entire setting that I've come across or that I've added up in the manga of this at this current moment. Next, I want to talk about the school faculty, especially the most notable characters such as the vice principal, the comedic side character who's always on an aggressive hunt for somebody to love. Is essentially a very comical character who's that sort of, the aggressive type, so to speak, right? It really adds a lot of, I guess, comedy yet tension at times, even at one point sometimes acting as the sort of villain or the sort of catalyst to some troubles and the like. So that part of it is funny. You also have Hahari, who is the none other than the chairwoman of this school, and with her power as the chairwoman, it really opens up, or I guess with the power of money, essentially, it opens up a lot of these opportunities for different family activities, family antics to be played within the plot of, especially in the plot or within the area of the school ground. Of course, you can't help but also be concerned about her losing her position. Remember, thanks to the whole newspaper club fiasco and the like, that could potentially ruin her standing as, or her position rather. But regardless, the matters were resolved anyway, so I guess in that arena it's fine and the like. Next, we're going to talk about Mei. And there's nothing much to say really. Mei really devoted to Hahari, and I guess within the case of the school, Mei acts as the sort of I guess secretary to Hahari, right? Assistant perhaps. Then you also have Mai, who is the, I guess now considering it, Mai is the assistant's assistant, right? Or yeah, the assistant's assistant. So there's that. There's that whole chain, fam, of like Mai follows Mei around and Mei follows Hahari around. Hahari follows Rentaro and the Rentaro family around, and it's a sort of cycle, so to speak, or I guess really in general a chain link to where everyone is linked together, right? Next, let's talk about two of the teachers of the Rentaro family, and I guess teachers so thus far in the manga series that we get to really know deeply, who are none other than Nadi or Nadeshiko, right? Nadi sensei and Momoha sensei. Now, for Nadi first, right now, Nadi, Japanese teacher who teaches with a sort of broken English, right, so to speak, and even the way of explaining the lessons that she has to the students is as Nadi as it can be. The dialogue that you read when she's together with the Rentaro family, or her overall conversation and communication style is pretty much the same even when she is teaching. And when someone's hired to the school for being cute, thanks a lot, Hahari, right? Well, of course you would be worried about her teaching capabilities, but still, Nadi being accepted to the school, I think it's a win, because Nadi gets to meet Rentaro as well, and of course the Rentaro family. Next up is Momoha, right? Social studies, ethics teacher, so to speak. Yeah, an ethics teacher, yes. Furthermore, she is also the gardening club's advisor, so that's a good bonus. But her whole, despite being the ethics teacher and a teacher who teaches ethics rather, right, she too can sometimes have a wacky distortion to her own views of ethics, to her own, I guess, moral compass, a moral compass that isn't really that's all over the place, right? She gambles, drinks alcohol on school grounds, and she's living on school grounds for that matter. I mean, good for Hahari for trying to help her out, but regardless, she's still a teacher, right? And that's also another thing that I wanted to really add, or really talk about further, or try to add on in this, because for both Nadi and Momoha sensei, despite them not looking like teachers, I mean literally, because you have Nadi's uniform as a her that whole cowgirl outfit, as she has the freedom to wear whatever she wants. I respect her for that at least. You also have Momoha, who is just wearing a tracksuit jersey, tracksuit, yeah, of some sorts, like a gym teacher or neat. No offense, Momha, right? But again, despite them looking like them, the way they act, though, at times, if the moment at the right moment, the way they act is as as teacher like as it can be, because as adults, as both of them are adults, they really do have the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience to really share to other people, and that they have all those things to share to other people, right? And this is also demonstrated, for instance, with Nadi's imparting of wisdom to Chio in that one chapter. When Chio was confronting the sort of Yankees, so to speak, right? And there's also that moment when Momoha shared her ethical knowledge, or her wisdom, so to speak, and understanding towards Nano and Mei, to the point where even they want to grow up to be like Momoha, but they shouldn't, according to Momoha, which that's one point that I also really love about her, right? Because Momoha is conscious of the person that she's become, that sort of vice-filled type of person with a lot of faults, and a quote-unquote loser, so to speak. So knowing that, of course, she also wants to share to her students that please don't grow up to be someone like me. And that's one of the things that I really, 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 really love about Momoha's character, and I guess Momoha in general, right? But again, going back to the initial point, despite them looking like that, despite them having faults, the point is that they are truly true teachers in essence, despite it all. As the story of the 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you keeps expanding, so will the I guess the entire lore or entire setting of this manga, not only to the extension of new things that we find within the school, but also, of course, towards what's in the town of this, the universe of this manga, right? And of course, in turn, that also includes the addition of new characters, whether it be new girlfriends or students, new faculty, such as new teachers and the like, or whatever girlfriends that may come across in this story. It's something that we all look forward to. And thus far in this into the series, it's really a wonderful, joyful ride, and really excited for more of it. With that being said, take care, family.